B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. We're starting the second daf of Daf Yomi, which is Daf Gimel, because the Talmud always starts on Daf Bet. So the Gemara says, "My kasavar Rabbi Lazar Omer ad sof ha'ashmura harishona," until the first. Okay, so yesterday I misspoke. Rabbi Lazar says there's 3 parts to the night. So according to Rabbi Lazar, in a perfect night that has 12 hours, you have 4 hours to say Shema. So if night starts 6, you have till like 10 p.m. because you divide 12 by 3. So the night, each mishmor, each segment of the night is 4 hours. I misspoke. Yesterday I said till 9 p.m. No, that's not wrong. If it's a 4-hour night, if it's a 12-hour night, you would have till 10. So the Gemara says, "My kasava Rabbi Lazar, kasava shalosh mishvat havalayla lemad Berachot." If Rabbi Lazar, what does he hold? If he holds that the night is 3 different things, let him say, like I told you, till 4. You have 4 hours from nightfall to say Shema. What is he bringing in this idea of different mishmor? Mishmor means different parts to the night, watchmans of the night, portions of the night. If he holds that there's 4 to the night, lema ad shalosh shaot. Let him say what? Till, like I said yesterday, which I misspoke, tell him say you have 3 hours to say Shema, because if it's 4 portions of the night, you divided 12 by 4, and then you have just the first 3 hours. So if nightfall would start at 6 p.m., then you would only have till 9. So which one is it? Does he hold that the night has 4 different portions or 3? Le'olam kasavar shalosh mishmorot havalayla. He holds there's 3 portions. V'hakamashmalan. And this is what he wants to teach us. He wants to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Just like in the night, there's different watchmen that watch over the city. So they have different shifts. They split it into 3. Also in heaven, there are different angels. If you look in the Shulchan Aruch, it says that it brings from the Shlad, talks about it, that at the end of each one of these portions of the night, the angels cry out to God, and if you pray at that time, is more accepted, your prayer. It's a et ratzon. So that's the significance of this Gemara, halachically. The Tanya, Rabbi Elazar Omer shalosh mishmorot havalayla v'akol mishmar u'mishmar yoshev HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'shoeg kari. The night has 3 distinct portions to it, and at the end of each one, God cries and roars out like a lion. Why is he roaring out? Like we just said in the drasha before, because he's heartbroken. He's sad that the Heshech inta begaluta, right? Mashiach hasn't come. And how do we know this? That God roars like a lion at the culmination, at the conclusion of every of these. Shene'emar Hashem imarom yishag mimaot kodsho yiten kolo. God from his higher heavens, from his higher echelons, ma'on kodsho is the highest heaven. He sho'eg kar al navehu. God cries out on his home, which is where? The Bet HaMikdash. That's why the Shulchan Aruch says if you want to pray for Mashiach to come at these specific times, at the end, conclusion of these mishmorot, like at 10 p.m. or 2 midnight and 2 p.m., these times is a auspicious time. It's very qabul mishe bishtar. It's good for Hashem to accept the prayer. V'siman ledavar mishmar rishona. Now, how do you know? Before they didn't used to have clocks, so how could you configure without a watch what time this mishmar is? So here's a very interesting way of knowing. It says, Mishmar Rishona Chamor Noer. The significance, the signal that it's the first mishmar, which is like around 10 p.m., is when randomly the donkey starts barking, starts yelling, starts making the sound he makes. Shnia kelavim soakim. The second one is that the dogs bark at midnight. Shlishit tinok, at the end, the culmination of the third night is when a baby wakes up, cries, and wants to nurse from his mother's bosom. Veisha mesaperet im ba'ala, and a woman wakes up her husband, starts talking to her husband. So I just want to tell you, my Rosh Yeshiva Shlita is an expert on the Gra. The Gra Zal explains this Gemara in a very deep way. In the Zohar, it says, our life in this world, Olam Haba is the world of light. This world is so destructive and there's so many evil people. And you always see that the good people suffer and the evil people prosper. So it's like night. It's like you become confused. Mm-hmm. So it says, each part of your life, the Satan tries to make you forget your purpose of life. What's our purpose of life? To study the Gemara, to do the mitzvot, to fear God, to break our bad. So it says what's the biggest way the Satan makes you sin? So it says your life could be separated into 3 parts. From like when you're 20 to 20, average person, let's say, lives 75 years. So the first third of your life, the biggest Yetzirah is chamor. The Zohar says chamor is chumriyut. Chumriyut means materialism. So the first 25 years of your life, when you're a teenager and a young adult, you always want to have pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. You want to go after sexual pleasure, physical pleasure, the best food. Forget about praying, forget about learning Torah, chumriyut. The second half of your life, you become like a dog. The Zohar says somebody that always says, I want more, have. How does a dog bark? Have. If he has $1 million, he wants 2 million. So he doesn't spend his time doing mitzvot and learning Torah. He's like a dog that says, whatever I have, I want double. And I'm going to work 20 hours a day, 18 hours a day to get what? More and more. But by the third part of his life, he realizes his whole life was a waste. So it says, Isha yoneket mi ba'ala. Our neshama and our body is the same relationship like a husband to a wife or like a child. So it says, Ta'azeh achar umrish, at the end of his life, the person wakes up and wants to do what? Teshuvah. So that's the deeper meaning. And it's very important to know your enemy. The more you know about your enemy in war, you could win him. So you have to know each part of your life. The Yetzer Hara tries to trick you and mislead you in a specific way. So Gemara says, "My kachashiv, Rabbi Lazar, techilat mishmoret kachashiv." Now this siman that the donkey barks or the dog barks, is that at the beginning of the portion? Techilat mishmara rishona simana lama liurtahu. Is it at the beginning of the portion or the end? Because if it's at the beginning of the first third of the night, you don't need to tell me donkey, because you see that the sun goes away. You know it's the beginning of the night. So that's something elementary. Even a 2-year-old kid would understand. You don't need a siman. Is sof mishmarot kachashiv, sof mishmara achrona lamali. And if he's giving you a siman, a sign, a signal for the end of the mishmor, the end of the third one, I don't need a specific sign. Why do I need the sign of the woman talking to her husband and the baby nursing? It's daylight. The end of the third part of night is daylight. So I see it's light. I know it's. So what is it? Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, Ela chashiv sof mishmara rishona. The first answer is like this. He's giving you a siman for the end of the first part of night. Techilat mishmara achrona. The beginning of the second part of the night. Vem sa'ite am sa'ita. And the woman waking up is the middle of the third. Oh, I'm sorry. So sof mishmara rishona. The end of the first part of the night, the beginning of the third part of the night, and the middle siman of the dogs barking is the middle of Chatzot, the middle part of the night. Mishmar. Iba itema, if you want to say, I'll tell you another way. It says, Ve'iba itema, kulo sof mishmarot kachashiv. Really, it's always telling you the end of the mishmarot, which means, we had a question, the end is clear because the end of the third one is morning. So it says like this. It says, then I don't need the last siman, which a woman wakes up and the baby nurses. Why do I need that? I know it's morning. I see daybreak. Gemara says, it's important because let's say like in New York that a lot of people live in a basement. You don't have any windows there. You're in a dark room. How do you know that you have to wake up and say Shema of the morning? When you see the upstairs, the baby's starting to cry and starting to nurse, and the woman is waking up her husband. So you don't have access to sunlight because your room doesn't have any windows. But when you get that siman, you know that it's already what? Morning time. And he doesn't know when Shema Yisrael. Now that you see those signs, you go and read Shema. Again, there's three parts to the night. And for each one, God goes ahead and screams out like a lion, roars like a lion. What does God cry out at the end of each part of the night? He says, woe to my children that they're in exile and I burnt my home, the holy temple, the Bet HaMikdash, and they're in exile amongst what? The nations. Rabbi Yossi says one time I was going what? Alone in Jerusalem, the holy city, and I went into a abandoned home to pray. Eliyahu Navi came and watched over me at the beginning of the door of the abandoned home. Ad shesiyamti tefilati, until I finished my prayer. La'achar shesiyamti tefilati, after I finished my prayer, Amar li shalom alecha Rebbe. Eliyahu Hanavi told me, what? Shalom, Rebbe Yossi, my Rebbe. Va'amarti lo shalom alecha Rabbi umori. He answered, Shalom to you, my Rebbe, my master. Va'amar li beni mipnei ma nichtasta lechurba zu. He said, my son, Rabbi Yossi, why did you go into this abandoned house, right? Abandoned house in Hebrew is called what? Churba, charabe, like. Va'amarti lo litpalel. He said, Eliyahu Navi, the reason that I went into the abandoned home is in the middle of the marketplace, in the middle of people going on their donkeys and camels. I don't have good kavanah, right? Because a prayer without kavanah, it's like a body without neshama. So I need to have what? Kavanah, proper intention. So he says like this. He said, like we just said, I was worried that if we would pray on the sidewalk, a passerby would come and disrupt me. Va'amar li, he said, you made a mistake. You should have done an abbreviated tefillah, which some of the Mefarshim say. Let's look in Rashi. Tefillah ketzara, it says, look in the Gemara later on page 29. Chavtet in the Gemara, it tells you what it means, an abbreviated tefillah. Some say, you say like you incorporate, what do? You incorporate all the different berachot of Shema Yisrael, like I said, of the silent prayer, of the Amidah, of Shmona Esrei, into like an abbreviation. That way you could have a short and sweet tefillah with a lot of kavanah. And you won't need to worry that somebody's going to what? disrupt you. I learned three things from him, Rabbi Yossi says. I learned that it's not appropriate to go into an abandoned house. He said, I learned that you are allowed to pray on the sidewalk, even though it's a shuluch, it's a crowded place. And I learned that you're allowed to pray abbreviation of the Hashem Sefatai. He said, what heavenly voice did you hear in this abandoned home in Jerusalem? אמרתי לו, שמעתי בת קול שמנאמנת כיונה ואומרת, אוי לבנים, שבעונתם חירבתי את ביתי ושרפתי היכלי והגלתי לבין האומות. It says, I heard God crying out, a heavenly voice, woe is it to my children that I destroyed my home, burnt my hechal, where I keep the Torah, and all my children are now exiled amongst the different nations. He said, I swear to you by your head and the head of your life. Lo shazu bilvad amar kach ela kol yom v'yom shalosh pa'amim omeret kach. He said, not only does it cries out 3 times a day, like we said, 3 mishmarot. 3 times at night it cries out that, God is upset that all his children are what? In galut. ולא זו בלבד, אלא שכה בשעה שישראל נכנסים לבתי כנסיות ובתי מדרשות ועונים אמן יהיה שמם מבורך. But he says, how does God get condolence? What God cheers God up, makes him a little bit happy? Well, this is why it's so important that we always have to pray what? With a minyan, because when they answer Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mena'aneh rosho, God kivyachol shakes his head, ve'omeret Ashrei HaMelech, lucky is the king, shemekalsin oto bebeto kach, that they praise him in his house, because every synagogue, every bet midrash is like an embassy of the holy temple, is a home of God. So he says, I'm so lucky and fortunate that they praise me so. So he says, what is it to a father to let his children go? And woe is to the children that they're not sitting at the what? Lap of luxury. Our home, right, this anti-Semitic stuff we see every day, is rigging us that this is not our home. Our real home is where? Yerushalayim, Israel. That's where we belong. So it says, I just want to bring out, Tosfot says that what is the kavanah we have to have in Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah? He brings from the Machzor Vitri that Sha'anu mitpalim sheyesh shemo gadol v'shalem. We say God's name should be complete, which means we're praying Yehei Shemei Rabbah. What does it mean? It means God's name when Amalek, which is the anti-God, right? We have one nation that's anti-God. If we're light, the nation of Amalek is what? Dark. We say, God says, Ki ketzya, God's chariot, kingdom will not be complete till Amalek is abolished. So we're praying that Mashiach comes quickly, then everybody will acknowledge God. And Amalek will be wiped out. That's what we have to have kavanah. And the Arizal also concurs with this, that and just to bring out, the Sharim Mitzum by Halacha brings that from the Rabbeinu Yonah here, he says on the Rif, that you have to realize Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah is an extraordinarily wonderful prayer. Why? Because the Gemara in Shabbat, Kuf Yutet says, if you say Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah loudly and with all your power and all your kavanah, intention, you meditate on it, they rip up all the bad gezerah you have against you, decrees in heaven, for 70 years. It says over there, and the Zohar brings that down in Parashat Terumah, That's why it's so important always to pray with a minyan, and we have to scream out. The Zohar says, when we say Amen Yeshemer Rabbah loudly and clearly and with full intention, all the mekatrim, all the evil angels that say Satan, that want God to punish us, get ripped up. And it's anybody that's done this, it's a big, all of us need so much mercy and blessing from God. A big way is to have a lot of kavanah in Amen Yeshemer Rabbah, say it loudly and clearly, and the Shulchan Aruch paskins like this. Tanu Rabbanan. Let's go ahead. Why did Eliyahu HaNavi tell Rabbi Yossi, you should not enter the abandoned house? There's 3 reasons. Chashad, they're going to think that you're going to, God forbid, be with a bad woman, a prostitute. Mipnei HaMapolet, they're afraid that if it's an abandoned home, it could be structurally compromised, and it could be dangerous, like one of the bricks could fall on your head, or if you go up the stairs, you could slip and, God forbid. Umipnei HaMazikin, and also there could be demons there. So Gemara says, Mipnei HaChashad. Why do you have to tell me 3 distinctive reasons? Tipukle mishum mapolet. Just tell me the most dangerous reason, which is what?
Demons.
No, mapolet is falling. That maybe the whole structure is going to cave in on your head. Yes. It's not structurally safe.